What's up, YouTube? Let me turn this on. Sorry about that. Just got back from dinner. Had a lovely dinner this evening. Welcome to KO Bets. My name is Bill. This is our live format pick and prediction show where I'll go through the entire UFC fight card for tomorrow night, give my picks, predictions for the purpose of gambling, and then maybe we'll do some other things at the end of the UFC preview. We'll dive into Twitter, trending topics. I think one of my viewers sent in a couple of articles that I can check out. So yeah, we'll get into it. Before we get started, I just want to update viewers on our NFT giveaway. We are at 35 subscribers, which is terrific. The channel's growing quickly. But if you subscribe to the channel, you can definitely participate in all future NFT giveaways. I'm for sure doing one at 100 subscribers. I might do one at 50 subscribers as well. Tonight for dinner, went to a nice Greek restaurant. Took the girlfriend out for her birthday. Had a really good time. Had a couple of... I think I had some Manhattan. I think it was 2 Manhattans, as opposed to old fashioned. I think I'm more of a Manhattan fan if that has some muddled sugar in it. I think that's what I like. It's a little bit smoother. It was really nice. So I had a couple of those. Had some really nice Greek food. But without further ado, let's get into the fights. We've got 12 fights, I believe, to go over for tomorrow. I say tomorrow night, but UFC Long Island is taking place at 1 p.m. Central Time for the main card. Prelims, 10 a.m. Central Time. That's nuts. That is absolutely crazy. A little bit too early, in my opinion. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow night. You know, I'm not going to sit inside, though, for 6 hours and watch the fights tomorrow. There's too much good stuff going on. It was raining today. I gotta get back outside. So, maybe I'll watch the fights at night. That's what I'll do, especially the ones I'm interested in. So, we've got Jessica Penne taking on Emily Ducat. Penne, UFC vet. She's on a 2-fight win streak. She's strung together a couple of solid performances. One was against Lupe Godinez. Just load my iPad here. I like to pull up Your Dog. I think they do a really nice job of laying out historical Oh, and then she armbarred Carolina in her last fight. So yeah, she's 37 years old. She's taken on a Emily Ducat, who's coming into the UFC, making her debut. Out of her 11 wins, 3 are KOs only, but she does seem like a very, especially in her most recent fights, 2 KO stoppages. In her last 2 fights with Invicta, she is the Invicta champion. So I'm gonna roll with the newcomer in this fight, Emily Ducat. I think Jessica Penne, if you like her, you're hoping she's gonna grapple in this fight. I just think if she's not able to grapple, we've seen her not perform very well in past fights. Even against Lupita Godinez, Lupita went up. That was short notice, and she went up in weight that fight. Put these on. And she went up in weight in that fight. So I think if she's not able to implement a grappling heavy attack against Emily, she's probably going to get in trouble and lose this fight in a stand-up match. So if we're looking at the odds makers, Jessica is the underdog at plus 135. Emily Ducat minus 155. As far as the fight prediction, I would say this will go the distance. Historically, Penne, she does have 2 knockout losses. I don't think she'd get submitted by Emily. But looking at her knockout losses, they were to Joanna and Jessica Andrade, so obviously two extremely high-level strikers. I don't know if I would feel comfortable betting on a stoppage in this fight, just not seeing too much of Emily, with this being her debut. But like I said in Invicta, she is coming off, 2 KO victories. I do think Emily probably wins this one. If I had to guess, I would say the decision, and that's what the odds makers like as well. But really, it's and it always is. It's who's going to be able to implement their game plan. If it's a grappling matchup, like Jessica could probably do pretty well in that matchup. So it's something to keep an eye on. I will not be betting on this fight. Maybe in a round robin I'll do Emily Ducat, but just without seeing enough of her on paper, not knowing. I mean, as far as her, I just want to check her. Yeah, she does have a submission loss. That was back in 2017, in the 5th round. So I would say a decision in all likelihood is probably the bet I would throw in a round robin. So -165 that this fight does go the distance. I think that's probably the play here on this fight. Next fight, we've got Dwight Grant taking on Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus is 0-3 in the UFC, black belt in jiu-jitsu. Very similar to the fight we had last week with the tatted up girl and the one girl who was coming off of 3 losses as well, grappling heavy. The question is like, Dwight Grant, is he gonna get into a predicament or a situation where he finds himself on the mat? If he does, I think Dustin Stoltzfus could potentially submit him. I was kind of going back and forth on this fight. At first, I was going with Dwight Grant, but kind of understanding the context of this fight, he was just knocked out April 20-something. So not, we're talking less than 3 months ago. He was knocked out. He's coming back. He's versing Dustin, who's probably not going to crack him with anything that'll put him out, but he is going up in weight to fight Dustin. I think this kind of has the recipe for an upset. I'm sure a lot of people are picking Dwight Grant. I'm going to go with Dustin in this fight, and for the reason that I think he could submit Dwight Grant if he's able to get the fight to the mat. And he could do it the first time he gets the fight to the mat. I think that if the fight plays out on the feet, Dwight Grant's obviously the better boxer. Does kind of have lower output. So I think Dustin Stoltzfus, he's the underdog plus 100. I think Dustin Stoltzfus via submission, maybe there's a little bit of value on that pick right there at plus 400, but as far as the odds makers, they do not think this is going to go the distance. If we're looking at these two fighters, I don't think Dwight Grant's got a ton of knockouts. 7 out of 11 wins come via KO. Dustin Stoltzfus, 0 KO losses. I think if Dwight Grant wins this, it's going to be a point decision. That's what I think it's going to be. But I'm going to roll with Dustin to get it done inside the distance via submission. And probably, I would say maybe on the earlier side. I just think he's going to be the bigger fighter in this fight. He is shorter on paper if we're comparing the two fighters, right? 6'1", 6 foot. But he's been fighting at this weight class. I just think, I don't know. I think I would bet on this fight, maybe if I was tossing it into a round robin play, it's a good fight on paper. If I'm tossing it into a round robin play, maybe I'm doing the inside the distance so it doesn't go the distance at -140. Maybe I'm sprinkling a little bit on the Stolfus submission. Maybe doing something like that, but I'm going with Stolfus on the money line. I gotta pick someone on the money line. I feel like Stolfus has this, right? He's gonna be 1-3 after this. He's 0-4. He's gone. He's done. So I think I like Dustin Stolfus heading into this fight. And Dwight Grant, I've picked him several times throughout his career, and he just hasn't. I picked him against Trinaldo. There just wasn't enough output in that fight. Dan Rodriguez, that was disappointing seeing him get KO'd. If we're looking at Dwight Grant, he doesn't have any losses via submission, but I think this could be the first. The next fight, we've got Dustin Jacoby taking on Da Un Jung. Dustin Jacoby, terrific kickboxer, 5-0 in the UFC with 1 no contest. This is a good fight. Da Un Jung, 4-0 in the UFC with 1 no contest. I would say Da Un Jung is probably the more... This is going to be a stand-up fight, in my opinion. But Da Un Jung does have the grappling in his back pocket. I would say he's going to be the more technical boxer, Jung is. But Dustin Jacoby, I think his shots are going to wear a little bit more stylistically. I just love how he comes on in the later rounds of fights, second round, third round. I think he's extremely tough as a fighter. Better kicker for sure, kickboxer. So if this fight does play out on the feet, I think the advantage is a little bit in favor of Dustin Jacoby. I do worry about, like, in a close round, if they are fighting each other very closely, Dustin's connecting. So he's facing the boxer too. Heavyweight on the front foot. He should be able to kick that calf very consistently. But if he's kicking that calf and he just ends up getting taken down, Da Un Jung probably wins the decision in this. As far as what I think is going to happen as the result, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the KO. Da Un Jung has never been knocked out in his professional career. Some pretty heavy hitters in his career. Does have the draw against Sam Alvey, which isn't looking good nowadays, but yeah, maybe I guess this one goes the distance. So if we're looking at the odds makers, I'm going with Dustin Jacoby on the money line. He is okay. It's pick'em now. He was the underdog, but it's 110 now. I'd probably feel. Yeah, I probably think this one does go the distance. I think both fighters have pretty good cardio. The only one I'm worried about is Jung potentially gassing out in this fight, but he's had a couple of... He's had three round fights in the UFC. One was ended. He got a submission choke, but yeah. I'm gonna say this one doesn't go the distance. -120. I think given their records, like looking at their wins, Da Un Jung, 13 out of his 15 wins have come inside the distance. Dustin Jacoby, 11 out of his 17 wins have come inside the distance. I do think if Dustin Jacoby wins, it's probably going to be like a decision or a knockout. Like he's going to... I don't think he's going to look great in the first round against a guy like Jung, but I think as the fight wears on, as he's drilling kicks, calf kicks to Jung. I think that hurts his mobility. As far as the takedown defense of Dustin Jacoby, it's not spectacular by any means. Yeah, he had the draw against Kutabala about 4 fights ago, and Kutabala was able to take him down very easily in the first round, but then kind of gassed out, and Jacoby was really able to come on strong at the end. So I think the first round's going to tell a lot about this fight. If Jung is able to drill those takedowns, he might end up edging out on the decision. Maybe there's a little bit of value on the fight props. Fight to be won by split or majority decision. Maybe that plus 550. Like, maybe it's not unanimous, is what I'm thinking at plus 550. Maybe I'll sprinkle that a little bit. Dustin Jacoby, he looked more appealing when I was doing these my research earlier because he was the underdog. I thought there was a lot more value on there. With it being a pick'em, it is like, if Jung's able to get those takedowns, it is going to play a huge advantage in, I think, the judges' eyes. But I'm rolling with Dustin Jacoby on the money line, and probably we'll put the Dustin Jacoby money line in a round robin. Bill Algeo taking on Herbert Burns. Bill Algeo, he's on a 1-fight win streak. Herbert Burns, he's on a 1-fight losing streak. Herbert Burns wants to submit his opponent. If Bill Algeo is able to keep this fight on the feet, he could probably win this fight. I think Bill Algeo might actually be the favorite in this. I'm not sure. Bill Algeo at minus 210. He is the favorite. But the more I'm looking at this fight, the more I kind of like. I think Bill Algeo, with his experience, he can keep it standing. He does have 2 submission losses. But those were, Shane Burgos back in 2014. 2012 was his other submission loss. So, it just takes one grappling exchange for a fighter like Herbert Burns to end this fight. He drills the takedowns consistently. I kind of wonder if Bill Algeo is going to be able to stand on the feet. So I think, again, I'm going with another underdog in Herbert Burns. He's not gonna be good on the feet. There's no question about it. But if Bill Algeo starts to swarm him and they do fall to the mat, it just takes one time on the mat for Herbert Burns to put him away. And then if we're looking at Bill Algeo and his knockout prowess, 3 knockout wins out of his 15 wins. So, we'll give him the striking advantage. I think if it's a decision, it'll be Bill Algeo. I think if it's inside the distance, it'll be Herbert Burns. But on the money line, I'm going with Herbert Burns. I think he's able to get the fight to the mat once, and then from there, get the submission victory. The submission is the favor for the Herbert Burns side of the bet at plus 330. If Vegas doesn't like this to go the distance, I don't see why. I don't really see how Algeo is going to put it away. If I'm being honest, I think the smart fight for Algeo is just to point strike with him, stay on the outside, and beat him on output. The other thing I'll mention, we have seen some cardio issues from Bill Algeo when he is grappling on the mat. Ricardo Lamos, any fight where he was being taken down consistently, he just tires out. So for that reason, I'm rolling with Herbert Burns. See what's going on. The next fight, we've got Ricky Simone taking on Jack Shore. Man, this is a tough fight, and I keep hearing everyone rolling with Jack Shore. But I think this matchup is going to be a difficult one for Jack Shore. He's going up against another very good wrestler. I would say Jack Shore is more of the jiu-jitsu artist, and Ricky Simone's more of the top control grappling artist. Yeah, I've kind of been back and forth on this. At first, I was like, for sure, Jack Shore is going to win this fight. He's probably got more output on the feet, but I don't know if he's even necessarily better on the feet than Ricky Simone. And then from a grappling perspective, I think Ricky Simone's going to be more likely to shoot for takedowns, retain top control. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a tough matchup for Jack Shore, who's 16-0. And it feels weird saying this, but I think he's going to be 16-1 after that. I think Ricky Simone is going to basically just wrestle him and stay safe in his guard. Ricky Simone, he does have a submission loss. That was back in 2016. It was a rear naked choke, and Jack Shore does have quite a few rear naked chokes on his resume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 rear naked chokes. So I guess it's possible that Jack Shore somehow gets to Ricky Simone's back, but I'm going to go with Ricky Simone to stay safe in the guard of Jack Shore, to be the fighter who's pushing forward throughout this match. Does he get caught with some sort of submission in the later round 3? Perhaps, but this is I think this is going to be a really good grappling matchup. And then I'm going to give the slight edge in stand-up performance to Ricky Simone. That might not be a popular sentiment, but I'm going to give a slight stand-up advantage to Ricky Simone. We did see Ricky Simone KO'd someone recently. Yeah, Rafael Asuncao. Yeah, which, I mean, he's been KO'd by everyone. Cody Garbrandt, Ricky Simone, Corey Sandhagen, Marlon Moraes. Oh, not Cody or Marlon. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give a slight stand-up advantage to Ricky Simone, and then I think he stays safe in the guard. So I kind of like the Ricky Simone decision at plus 200. I'm sure the odds makers don't like this, or sorry, they do like it to go the distance. Yeah, minus 190. That's probably a safe bet given the styles of these two fighters. If anyone's going to put anyone away, I think it's going to be Jack Shore with the submission if he's able to find the back in round 3 of Ricky Simone. But yeah, we're going with another underdog in Ricky Simone. The next fight we've got is Punahele Soriano taking on Dalcha Lungambula. This is going to be... I kind of think someone's going to get knocked out in this fight. Soriano can put your lights out. Dalcha can put your lights out. I'm rolling with Soriano. I just think he's a little more technical, a little more reserved as a striker. I think it is going to be kind of a low output fight, so if it does, by some miracle reach a decision. Um, it's going to be maybe not a great fight by the numbers, but um, I think Soriano. Dalcha probably does have that grappling advantage a little bit. I think Soriano wins this fight. Couple fights behind here. Soriano's coming off of a 2-fight losing streak. We're looking at those opponents. That was Nick Maximov, terrific grappler. Brandon Allen, terrific grappler. Those are his 2 professional losses. Otherwise, he's just knocking people out. Dusko, Oscar, Jamie Pickett, he went to a decision against, which Jamie Pickett kind of been getting knocked out by everyone since he's joined the UFC. And then we've got Dalcha. He's also coming off of 2 losses. Yeah, I mean, both have for sure knockout prowess. I think we're looking at the odds makers. I'm guessing they don't like this one to go the distance. So Soriano's the heavy favorite at minus 225. Probably some value on Dalcha just because it just takes 1 punch, but his output is very low. If he's not knocking out Soriano, I think I like the fact like Soriano I could see winning a decision or by knockout. Dalcha I could see maybe winning by knockout, but not via decision or submission. So yeah, the odds makers don't like this one to go the distance. If I had to choose a winning method, I too would pick some sort of knockout combination. You could bet on the knockout for either fighter at minus 150 total. That might be my round robin pick. I'll definitely post some picks tomorrow morning. I owe some people some picks, so I'm gonna roll with like I said, Soriano on the money line, probably a knockout. But I don't know if it's worth chasing that plus 140. I don't know if that's worth the squeeze, worth chasing. I'd probably put at minus 200 that or what did we say, minus 140 that it's a knockout? Minus 150? Maybe that's what I'm inclined to bet. Now we've got the main card. We've got Lauren Murphy taking on Miesha Tate. Miesha Tate's going down in weight after she just lost to somebody. She got beat up pretty bad after her return to the octagon. And I want to say Aj Rodriguez. No, it was Ketlin Vieira. Yeah, she kind of got boxed up in that fight a little bit. She's taking on Lauren Murphy. Miesha Tate feels if she beats Lauren Murphy, she's right there ready to challenge Valentina Shevchenko for the belt. Maybe. It's good having Miesha Tate back in the sport for sure. Crazy when she choked out Holly Holm. She has had a really good UFC career. I just wonder if she's not able to get this fight to the mat against Lauren Murphy, if she's going to have very much success in this fight. Miesha Tate, 35 years old. Lauren Murphy, 38 years old. Lauren Murphy, she's coming off of her shot against Valentina Shevchenko. She did get knocked out last September. But, I mean, prior to that, she was just on an absolute tear. Had some really good wins over grappling heavy opponents, so I kind of like Lauren Murphy in this matchup to win via probably decision, is my thinking, over Miesha Tate. We'll see what the odds makers think as far as the line. Misha Tate minus 200? Are you freaking kidding me? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills looking at these lines. I like Lauren Murphy plus 170. Maybe Misha Tate is a better grappler going down in weight than like a Roxanne Modafferi or Joanne Wood. I shouldn't disrespect her. She's probably better than Joanne Wood. But like the fighters we've seen Lauren Murphy lose to are extremely elite as far as the grappling with Chukagian or Sarah McCain, or they're just very good strikers. Like Chukagian's very, she's a long striker. Shijara Eubanks, long striker. Valentina Shevchenko, freaking animal. She went 4 rounds with her, almost 5 rounds with her. So I think Lauren Murphy's getting a little bit of disrespected with this line. So I'm going with Lauren Murphy plus 170. As far as the odds, yeah, you gotta like it to go the distance. Winning method, like I said, if Misha Tate's able to get those takedowns and maintain top control, yeah, she'll probably have a pretty successful fight. But I gotta roll with Lauren Murphy. Yeah, I'm rolling with Lauren Murphy, and I do feel weird taking so many underdogs. Shane Burgos taking on Charles Air Jourdain. Charles Air Jourdain is one of my favorite nicknames in the sport. Air Jordan, Air Jourdain, we all get it. It's hilarious. But the dude's he's an entertaining fighter. I think of that Sparta kick, his last fight, that was kind of a silly submission attempt. He got the one-arm guillotine against Lando Venata, or Venata. That shouldn't happen. And then he lost to Juicy J, was his last loss. That's another one of my favorite nicknames, Julian Arosa. Yeah, I mean, I like Jourdain a lot. He's probably the better kicker in this fight. I think this fight's going to play out on the feet primarily. Shane Burgos on the other side, terrific boxer. Honestly, he's just faced some really, really stiff competition, in my opinion, so far in the UFC. His 3 career losses, Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett, and Edson Barbosa. Edson, that's one he probably, wishes he had back. That was a round 3 knockout. Probably wishes he had that one back. As far as like technical boxing, I'll give the advantage to Shane Burgos. I think he's a little better as far as like the output. And I think against a fighter like Charles Jourdain, he's going to have a lot of success on the feet. I like Charles Jourdain a lot. I think this is going to be an awesome fight. They're both very game to throw down. I don't know if it's necessarily going to end inside the distance. I feel like the odds makers, like the smart thing is to hedge towards that direction, is going to end inside the distance. But I think both of these fighters are pretty tough. Shane Burgos does have 2 out of his 3 losses have come via KO. We saw him get knocked out by Edson Barbosa, but then he had a unanimous decision win against Billy Quarantillo, who's also similar to these 2 fighters, down to scrap, dog. Charles Jourdain, he has 0 knockout losses. So I think we're looking at a Shane Burgos decision here, but I wouldn't be surprised by a knockout in this fight. I wouldn't be surprised if this does end inside the distance. If we're looking at the odds, Shane Burgos is the slight favorite at minus 165. I think that makes a lot of sense. Fight props, they don't like it to go the distance. So I think there's maybe a little bit of value on that decision play. Like I said, Yeah. I think there's probably value on that decision, that the fight does go the distance. Probably going to put Shane Burgos in my round robins. At the end of this, maybe I'll highlight the fighters I really like this weekend, so just for parlaying purposes. But now that we're here and talking about parlays, go ahead, leave your parlay picks in the chat. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you're betting on. I like the 2 to 4 person parlays, like nothing too crazy. Don't give me any full card predictions. You can if you want. I'm just, no way in hell am I putting money on that bet. Matt Schnell taking on Sumaderji. Matt Schnell is heading into this fight on a 1-fight losing streak. Sumaderji, he's on a 3-fight win streak. I think where Matt Schnell is going to win this is probably in the grappling. I just don't think he really grapples. So the question is like, I don't know, are we going to see him outstrike Sumaderji? I don't think so. I think Sumaderji is a better striker. He's got terrific movement. He is coming off of an injury, apparently, a knee injury. So if he's maybe not moving as well as he should, like, yeah, I guess there's an opportunity for Matt Schnell, and you should fade Sumaderji. But I'm rolling with Sumaderji on the money line. By the way, we pronounce everything right the first time. Yeah, I'm going to roll with Sue on the money line. He is the heavy favorite at -265. Maybe some value on Matt Schnell at +225, especially if Sue's just not moving around as well as he typically does. I want to see by the numbers some of their stats here. So Matt Schnell, 3 KO losses, 1 decision loss. He's 4-1 in decisions. And Sue, his only losses are submissions, 4 submissions. So, I mean, Matt Schnell does have 8 submissions, right? Triangle chokes. So it's like a top position choke. How's Sue's takedown defense? Pretty good. Not outstanding, but not bad. Not horrible at 77%. Yeah, I'm going to roll with Sue on this. Number 12, the Tibetan Eagle. Rolling with him. Probably decision. I just like the decision because it's +300. I do think he is the much better striker, so if Matt Schnell's not able to drill those takedowns, I really don't see how it's possible for him to even win a decision. So I'm going to go with Sue in that fight. The next fight, we've got Li Jingliang taking on Muslim Salikov. Li Jingliang coming off the loss to Hamzat. Just kind of got swarmed and choked. Muslim, terrific stand-up artist, kickboxer. What's his nickname? King of Kung Fu. Yeah, stand-up artist. His 2 losses might both be submissions. I just want to look that up and verify it for you. Yeah, they're both submissions. So against Alex Garcia in 2017 and Chris Holcomb in 2012, he was submitted. I think Li Jingliang, if he's not getting this fight to the mat, I think he's going to, he's bring some skills striking wise. He's a very powerful puncher, very powerful kicker, just powerful striker in general. He does bring some things to the table that you like as a striker, but I think it would be a dumb decision to stand and trade with Muslim. If we're looking at Muslim's takedown defense, it's very good. So I think if Li Jingliang isn't getting like 3 takedowns in this fight and keeping Muslim on the mat, I think he might get finished. He doesn't have any KO losses. He's 5-5 in decisions, but if we're looking at Muslim, he does have some good KO prowess. 12 out of his 18 wins have been KOs, so yeah, I don't know. I'm cool with rolling with Muslim on the money line here. There we go. Yeah, Muslim minus 155. I mean, I guess I agree with the over prediction. It's a pick'em there. So maybe I'm just rolling with Muslim and I like the decision for Muslim. Probably just rolling with Muslim on the money line. I think Li Jingliang I think he's a good fighter. It's just, if he's not able to drill the takedowns, I don't know how he's, honestly, I don't know how he's beating a fight Muslim, so rolling with Muslim. Michelle Waterson taking on Amanda Lemos. Michelle Waterson, the karate hottie, experience, seems like a pretty good fighter. Amanda Lemos, probably the better striker. Probably just like better overall talent, I would say the Lemos is, but she doesn't carry that experience heading into this fight. If we're looking at Waterson's career, like, she's been in there with some of the best. Coming off a loss to Marina Rodriguez, split decision win versus Angela Hill, Carla Esparza loss, Joanna loss, Keisha Torres loss, Rose Namajunas loss. You know, her losses are to very good fighters, and she is a savvy jiu-jitsu artist, good submission artist, so I think her path to victory is probably the submission, and I think Amanda Lemos kind of can win this fight wherever it plays out. We did see Amanda Lemos we've seen her get tired against Angela Hill. She got tired. That was a split decision win. They both have split decision wins against Angela Hill. I'm rolling with Amanda Lemos. I guess if the odds are more in favor, minus 305. Like, come on, that's tough. I would say for fight props, this is another good one. Split or more majority decision plus 400. Maybe a good idea to sprinkle a little bit on there. Winning method, fight props, I do think it's going to go the distance. I don't think anyone's getting submitted or knocked out. Waterson, in her career, so Lemos, 2 losses, both have come inside the distance. Waterson, 4 have come inside the distance, 5 via decision. She's 6-5 in decision. So, and then conversely, Lemos is 2-0 in decisions. So there's something Lemos does that the judges like. I would say Lemos via decision would be the result I would pick. Yeah, maybe I'll go with that. Lemos via decision at plus 100, just because I don't like the odds at 305. You know, risk a little bit less for what I think's the likely outcome. Yeah. So I'll probably do that decision. The next fight we've got is the main event. We've got Brian Ortega taking on Yair Rodriguez. Max Holloway beat both of these guys. Yair's obviously coming off the immediate loss to Max Holloway. Brian Ortega coming off of an immediate loss to Volkanovski. Ortega takes a lot of time off, I noticed, in between losses to just like go back and drill certain things. I think Brian Ortega is way better as a grappling artist. I think Yair Rodriguez is way better as a striker. It kind of, it's whatever you like, right? If you like this fight to play out on the feet, you probably like Yair Rodriguez. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think, by the way, the backwards elbow against Chen Sung Jung for Yair Rodriguez was the nastiest KO I've ever seen in my life. One of the coolest things ever. Just ducking under a punch and throwing an elbow like up like that and connecting, knocking out your opponent. Unreal. Unreal that knockout was. But he doesn't have great takedown defense, right? Which might not matter. It might not matter. And Brian Ortega, we don't see him really shooting for takedowns. So I think if this fight plays out on the feet, I think Brian Ortega is probably in trouble a little bit. But I don't think I've watched Brian Ortega fight too many times where the fight hasn't found its way to the mat. And once it gets there, he's just very dangerous as a submission artist. So I'm rolling with Brian Ortega, probably via submission in this fight. I think it just takes one, grappling exchange for Brian Ortega to put this away. He is the favorite at -170. I think a smart bet is that this fight doesn't go the distance. I know Brian Ortega does have 0 KO losses, but I mean, it could. Oh, he does have 1 KO loss. Never mind. Yeah, that was a doctor stoppage versus Max. I think if he's fighting standing up, that's a likely outcome, is what I was going to say, the doctor stoppage. So I think there's a lot of value on that -150. This fight doesn't go the distance. 5 rounds? You kidding me? Look at win by 67% of the time inside the distance. 57% of the time inside the distance. I think the likely outcome is someone, either Yair Rodriguez knocking out or doctor stoppaging Brian Ortega, or Brian Ortega, I think, is going to get the submission victory. The submission victory is +200 for Brian Ortega. If I had to guess when he was going to get this, I might do like a fight parlay and do Brian Ortega and under 3.5 at +150. Maybe that's appealing. I think it'll happen as soon as it gets to the mat. I think it's over. So if that happens in round 1, I think it's over. If it happens in round 2, I think it's over. So I kind of am 3.5. That puts you at the half-minute mark of the 4th round. I think Brian Ortega can put it away before then. But I'd probably just go with the submission at +200. I think that makes a lot of sense. So as far as parlays that I like, I would say man, it's just a tough fight because I'm taking so many underdogs. The parlay I'm going to put out there, the parlay play I'm going to put out there is Ortega, Dustin Jacoby, and Shane Burgos. Those are guys I really like. Maybe Muslim as well. But +386, I think those are solid odds. And Dustin Jacoby he has people, you can see money's been coming in on him. But, maybe that's a parlay play I like. Maybe we throw Muslim in there, get a little more bang for our buck. Yeah. I mean, I don't want. I would put Sue in there. I would put like Lemos in there, but I don't love their odds, especially given the circumstance. So, yeah, Dustin Stoltzfus. I think that's submission, decision victory for either fighter. Yeah, those are my picks and predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments. I wanted to look up Twitter trending topics. So every day, MOAS trends. You know, the squeeze, AMC squeeze or whatever, which is super cool. What the hell? Doesn't Twitter just have their own trending topic? What the hell is this? So I did see there were a bunch of failure to delivers for AMC today. I am a fan of AMC. I am a fan of GameStop. We've got the stock split next week. I did deposit some money into my Fidelity account, so I'm definitely trying to, you know, I got paid today. I'm just looking for the funds to clear so I can acquire more GameStop prior to the 18th of July. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, isn't going to happen, is it? Because that's Monday. So I'll just get more on Monday. No big deal. But, yeah. These things are going to squeeze so much. So if you like gambling, you know, why not put a little bit of money on some stocks, you know? With high short interest. The economy's in trouble. You never know, like, who's betting on certain things, where their money, you know, where their exposure is, and as the value of all assets come down, maybe they get margin called. It's definitely possible. So if we're looking at trending topics, it's always frickin' WrestleMania. Talk about paid promotion. It's something like, and why is it for me? I don't care about CM Punk or whoever this guy is. Is that CM Punk? I don't care who it is. I don't want it on my screen. Oh, Thor Love and Thunder came out. Excited to see that. I think they've done a really nice job with Thor movies. I didn't love the most recent Doctor Strange. But Thor is generally... Besides the first one, they were pretty good. Who's Jay Knight? Oh, Jack Knight. Excuse me. R.I.P. Jack Knight. Passed away at age 28. We just want to be free. LGBTQ plus Afghans are struggling to survive under Taliban rule. Yeah. It's extremely unfortunate that, you know, it's just like the amount of F-ups under this administration, it's just crazy to... It's really absurd. It's really absurd how anyone can support it, like this administration. Because, you know, I mean, Afghanistan, was that last year where they just, like, pulled out the military and they were, like, and there were attacks and U.S. soldiers were dying, citizens, people were riding on planes, remember that? And just, like, falling from planes that were taking off. Really, I mean, the Taliban's not, they're not good people. So to negotiate with the Taliban like this administration did was just like totally, this is a total fuck up. And they fucked up so much shit. There's no debating it. They're just just in fucked up times. And I wish everything wasn't like so divisive, but it's just like I mean, yeah, you just abandoned specific population to deal with an extremist group on their own. Like, I don't know. Maybe I have a misconception of who the Taliban is, but the 20 plus years I've heard of them, like, they've always been like not good, like just extreme is what I should say, extreme. And the punishment for not adhering to their rules is oftentimes like a physical punishment, death, just some real medieval shit. A new A is terrorizing a fresh group of liars and pretty liars. Oh, what's close enough? Oh, it got canceled on HBO. Prettiest outdoor restaurants in Europe. Your period tracker app could get you arrested for having an abortion. This bill wants to prevent that. Well, I don't think any app's gonna get you arrested unless you're like, hey, I'm doing abortions in my basement of my house in a place where it's not legal. Like, that's the only way an app. Like, maybe Twitter will get you arrested if you have an abortion someplace you shouldn't because you tweeted about it. There's going to be states where it's legal. There's going to be states where it's illegal. If you feel one way or another, go lobby, go talk to your state representatives about it and push for change in your state. I think it's Illinois, if we and Pritzker, the way he's like selling Chicago and Illinois as like the abortion hub of the Midwest, it makes me sick. But like, I think if we lobbied for change in our individual states, you'd see so much more results. Like, the fact we put like any sort of value into federal politicians in that basket, we assign any sort of value or hope to those people, is just like naive and stupid of us. So I think it's, as far as like my political alignments, I just want like someone who's concerned about the people of America, citizens of America. They put America first. They're putting us in advantageous positions as a population to succeed. They're not interfering with our success. They're not interfering with our failure. They're not. I think generally, I know what's best for me better than anyone else. And that might sound silly to say, but I think generally I know what's best for me. And I don't need no stinking government to tell me what to do. Rand Paul, he tweeted something out. I know. I saw it earlier on Twitter. It was something about like the Jan 6. Basically, I don't think January 6th is going to go down as being an organized coup or anything like that. Like, Trump's not going to be liable, is basically what was tweeted out that I saw. And I think that's probably appropriate. I don't think I don't think Trump coordinated or organized any sort of coup. I think it was just, I think we need a lot more transparency in a lot of different things. We need it in our markets, we need it in our election system. Um, we need that audit and that validation, that infallible kind of proof, and it shouldn't be. And do I think the election was wrong? No, it doesn't surprise me that the Democrats won the popular vote again, so it doesn't surprise me that they were able to win an electoral college. I don't think it's anything, I don't think it's anything like that, but like if we could just track that stuff with blockchain technology, like blockchain non-amendable. Whatever you do on blockchain can't be changed. You can't retroactively go back and change something without people seeing that you've changed that. So I just think, implementing blockchain technology into our markets and into our political system, our election system, just to implement more transparency would be a good thing for everyone. Like, that's just my thought. Like, because we clearly do, as a society, we don't value outlets anymore, and I think they deserve that, right? They gotta build our trust back up in general. Whether, like, I mean, just look at the ratings of some of these stations. Like, they're not, news outlets aren't doing very well. They don't seem to back up the sentiment of people. They seem to back up the sentiments of lobbyists or the companies they work with. So, oh, the Webb telescope. That shit was badass. Let's check that out. Who do you think's higher, the Webb telescope or Hunter Biden right now? Yeah, look at this. This is a nebula. I don't know what a nebula it is, but that's a star in the middle of this red blob. And they're using infrared imaging. Like, this to me is one of the most beautiful pictures. And it just kind of, like, this stuff came out this week, and it kind of made me realize, like, how inconsequential and small we all are, right? This is supposedly an active black hole. Like, so if your eyes follow this, you can kind of see the swirling effect. And so whatever's pulling, and you can see some light escaping here, but whatever's pulling these stars together is actually an active black hole, which I find super interesting. So you have 3 different, I guess they would be galaxies, solar systems surrounding a star. What would that be? I mean, is that a galaxy? I don't know. I don't know the terminology of this, but it's super interesting. So you've got them being pulled into a black hole, which I find interesting. And then I think this WASP-B, I think, was a moon or something, or a planet that they found off in the distance. And you can see all these white dots are the data that they're logging based on the infrared images that they received from that scan. And this blue line is the best fit model for an alternative place of survival for humanity. Isn't that crazy? They might have identified a very, I mean, I wouldn't say it's likely, but scientists may have identified a place where humans could feasibly survive, which is just absolutely insane to think about. So yeah, the Webb telescope's pretty high. And the images are just fascinating to look at. This is a deep field zoom. So you can see all these different systems, solar systems in here. Truly amazing, right? Just to look into space and you look at, I mean, you can't. Like, that's amazing, right? Just like, even on this image, you can't even count all of them. And it's so crazy to think, like, you know, we're nothing. We're nothing. This planet we live on, we're nothing in the grand scheme of the universe. So it's just, I don't know. I found it fascinating. I found it interesting. Maybe you didn't, but yeah, I tend to agree with you, Bobby. I think that dude's. I think that dude is probably at least twice as high as the Webb telescope. So, I appreciate you tuning in, Bobby. I saw you were watching the whole night. Thanks for tuning in, man. I'm gonna take off. Probably I'll post some pics to Twitter. Let me go ahead and put in my Twitter handle. I'll post those to Twitter probably tomorrow. Get some picks out there, some parlays pushed out there. I did play some bets tonight. I can recap those, see if any of those hit. So I did a summer league one. I did $25. The Kings -4, Pacers money line, and Pelicans -3. Let's see what they're doing. NBA summer league. First. Oh shit. Well, the Wizards are gonna win. So. And then the Pelicans play later. Well, it happens. I think I like the Pacers because they were well, I think they had 2 first round picks this year because they traded. I thought they traded for a player, but maybe they're just like on a little bit of a lull since they missed out on DeAndre Ayton. You know, like, oh my God, we're gonna get DeAndre Ayton, and then they weren't able to. But I really like what the Pacers are building. I like what I think the whole Central Division is going to be really, really competitive and solid, including the Cavs. I think the worst team on paper to me it's still Detroit, but they do have some great young talent. I think the Pacers, after trading for Halliburton last year, that was a really, really solid move by them. So I like what the Pacers are building a lot. I still think it goes like Bucks, Bulls, Cavs, Pacers, Detroit, but I think this is going to be one of the deeper divisions in the NBA next year. Let's see, division. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the Atlantic Division, which I expect Boston, 76ers, Toronto. I expect Toronto to improve. The Nets, we'll see what happens. But that's obviously a very deep division. I do think the Cavs are going to get better next year. I think the Pacers are going to be better. I think Detroit's going to be better. I think that Southeast Division's probably the worst, in my opinion, depending on what happens with Brooklyn. You know, if Brooklyn trades KD and Kyrie, they could be pretty bad. I don't think New York did enough with Jalen Brunson to really be a contender or competitor to win that division. Maybe they could make some sort of wild card, play-in game run, but I kind of think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, maybe New York 9, Charlotte 10, Pacers 10, Washington 10. And then as for the Western Conference, I mean, I don't think the Grizzlies are going to be as good as they were last year. I kind of like the Mavericks to take a step up, even though they're losing Brunson. Just got to like Luka Doncic as long as he's healthy. The Pelicans should be pretty good. Memphis should be pretty good. Phoenix, I don't think they're going to be first place next year. Warriors, Clippers, Lakers. It's a stacked division. I think the Jazz will probably... I mean, the West looks pretty good again. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I had a lot of fun going over the show tonight, going over my picks, predictions. Like I said, just give me a follow on Twitter, and I'll definitely post some picks tomorrow. I'm just not gonna watch it live. It's just 10 a.m. to like 3 p.m. Like, that's your whole Saturday, and it was raining all day today. I gotta get outside and do some stuff. We got the fairs in town. We got a bunch of stuff going on. Actually, Bobby, I'll text you about that. See what you guys are up to if you want to hit up the fair. But appreciate you tuning in. Everyone, have a good night. I'll talk to you next week. And good luck on your picks. Subscribe to the channel if you want to win an NFT. Subscribe. Peace.